Jack Hanma has survived the first fury of slashes, showing his hands that can indeed fly. However, the cord cutter has improved by such an insane amount, confirmed by Baki himself in this chapter, that he counters Jack again, but then it happens. A casual handshake, Jack's blinding to the cord cut for the second time in his life, but more importantly, the almighty bite lands. Welcome to Baki Rahen chapter 12. We've got a lot of stuff to go over. Jack Hanma vs Shinogi Kosho. I hope you enjoy. The first question we have is, how do we get here? To a point where the cord cutter is currently winning against Jack Hanma. Throughout the last 5 or so Baki Rahen chapters, we've seen two perspectives. Jack Hanma, who doesn't really have any interest in the cord cutter whatsoever, no real fear to any degree, and no real additional preparation needed from his perspective, thinking he's most likely far above the likes of him, while Shinogi has been going through all that preparation, whether it be a sparring match against Doppo Orochi, a fight against Hanada, or final conditioning alongside his brother. He's definitely far more prepared for this fight than Jack, and we actually get this shown again with the first, face-off between the two. Jack being way taller than him, as we all know, to such a degree Jack gives some subtle disrespect that while bent all the way down, he's still taller than the likes of Shinogi, which is kinda crazy. Take this line in the chapter. He's gone from looking down to him to looking down on him. Goes hard. But before the fight even begins, we see that Jack still has his casual shirt on, highlighting once again that he isn't really taking this fight that serious, and when the referee calls for the fight to begin, Jack Hanma has his back turned to the cord cutter and is slowly taking off his shirt, with Shinogi finding the opening right away, jumping into the air as he's been practicing the gymnast level flexibility, proceeding to land his cord cutting combo with blood flying everywhere from Jack. Jack still looking quite casual, but this is where we have Baki Rahen chapter 12 to go over. We get it highlighted that even if you block his attacks, they still do some significant damage with the blood and actual slashes throughout all of Jack's body here. However, he doesn't really seem too fazed by it, but a large portion of this chapter is dedicated to highlighting Shinogi's abilities, proving how much of a dangerous weapon he's really become, with a lot of people in the crowd thinking he's actually using a weapon, cheating per se. However, Baki knows the truth, who confirms here that Shinogi has gotten much stronger. He says he's grown, followed by Baki thinking back to his fight against Shinogi back in Grappler Baki, one of the first fights in the entire series, which is pretty cool to see. We don't often get callbacks like this in the series, so it's pretty cool to see. It's also important to note in the previous chapter, we had Goki actually respecting the cord cutter after landing this combo on Jack. This is for a key reason. During the Maximum Tournament, Goki was the one who defeated Shinogi, meaning he's one of the few characters who's gone up against the cord cutting abilities and overwhelmed it. But coming back to what Baki was saying in regards to how he's grown, is that he's become sharper, meaning his attacks are far more lethal now, which is pretty good for him and something we've already seen in these various sparring matches. However, when it comes to Jack's perspective of all this, it's pretty much what I expected. He shows no concern for all of his wounds and simply takes a striking stance, something Jack is actually pretty good at, as we got to see in his Sukune fight, with him being able to drop Sukune with a fire combo. Jack, when it comes to striking, is also top tier. He is by no means a one-trick fighter that solely relies on his biting. Even back in his motorway fight, he was able to overwhelm the prepped up beast with his striking. The biting failed in that fight. However, alongside his willpower and sheer stats, he was able to push Motorbay to an insane degree. A lot of people kinda misinterpret or misremember this fight. Jack was actually viewed as a monster by Motorbay, and now more than ever with his new training and of course his new tactics going through the roof. When it comes to the striking he does here against Shinogi, we get it clearly shown that Shinogi is far more skilled compared to someone like Sukune, which is as expected. Even though his cord cutting is unique to him, he's also a karate master and was able to avoid Jack's follow-up kick, which very badass art, you love to see it. Even people in the crowd respecting how fast Jack is here, with all the guys just watching closely. But Shinogi has shown to be quite the beast himself. He dodges Jack's attack, jumping into the air, once again his whole gymnast thing, landing a direct kick that I guess rocks Jack to a degree, but not really an insane amount of damage. I guess similar to what Ali Jr. did to Jack back earlier in the series, allowing Jack to land the next combo. Shinogi's able to block them, but they confirm to be fast and heavy. However, Jack doesn't continue down this path and does something quite strange. He chooses to out of nowhere shake Shinogi's hand. This is where we get the first time Jack speaking in the fight, and as expected considering Jack's view on Shinogi, it's some shit talking, saying so soft. Shinogi's most powerful weapon is his hand. Saying it's soft is pretty much major disrespect, and I guess triggers Shinogi to a decent degree, who goes for one of his most lethal abilities, the cord cut that actually results in blindness, with us seeing one of Jack's eyes enter this blindness. Back in the Maximum Tournament, Baki actually used this on Jack and actually resulted in one of his eyes to go blind. It's not permanent, it's able to be fixed by some Baki logic stuff. However, this also had given Jack the opportunity to land his lethal attack, the bite, which seems to be on Shinogi's trap, similar to how it landed on Sukune, meaning Jack's plan to slowly take out his opponent with his bites has begun, and it's probably not going to go too well for Shinogi moving on from here. However, the cord cutter has done very well so far in this fight, being able to cut up Jack to a decent degree, and actually take out one of his eyes is a lot better than I guess a lot of people reading the manga actually expected for this fight. I was kinda expecting something similar to this, and it seemed like to this point Jack still wasn't taking him that serious, considering he stopped his striking and began shaking Shinogi's hand for the single purpose of talking some shit. It may have been Jack's plan to create an opening for his bite, or maybe force Shinogi to use this attack, which actually results in an opening. Probably in the next chapter we'll get some clarification like this, or we could get the opposite. Jack was messing around and then faced a deadly attack, meaning he's now going to take Shinogi serious, and this may have just been his instant reaction after losing one of his eyes to go for his lethal attack and try and end it as soon as possible. As a whole, I'm enjoying the fight, very good exchanges. Seeing Jack throw hands is always a highlight of his fights. Even though his main thing is biting, I still prefer when he throws those combos. Perhaps a return of the almighty uppercut, one of his main finishes in the entire series, will be something he does in many of these matches in Baki Rahen. But that's everything for today's video. Subscribe for more Baki content. Shout out to the members, the Mad Lads.